Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into some traditions you might think are straight out of the Bible, but guess what? They're not. Like, seriously, they're not in there. It's wild. We're talking about those stories we've heard since we were kids, those images we see everywhere, and those beliefs that have been passed down for generations. Get ready to have your mind blown and maybe even laugh a little along the way. Because let's be real, learning about the Bible doesn't have to be boring. Okay, picture this, a nativity scene. You've got baby Jesus, Mary, Joseph, some shepherds looking confused, and of course the three wise men, right? Wrong? Well, kinda. The Bible does mention wise men, or magi, who brought gifts to Jesus. But guess what? It never actually says how many there were. It could have been 2, it could have been 20. Maybe they even carpooled. Imagine that camel-packed car ride. So how did we land on 3? Well, it's probably because they brought 3 gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But hey, who's to say there weren't more wise guys or gals who showed up empty-handed? Maybe they were just there for the snacks. I mean, I wouldn't judge. Let's talk about the Garden of Eden. That paradise where everything went down. Picture it, a lush, vibrant garden teeming with life, where every plant and animal lived in perfect harmony. It was a place of pure bliss, untouched by the troubles of the world. You know the story, Adam and Eve, a talking snake and a forbidden fruit. This tale has been told and retold countless times, becoming a cornerstone of many cultural and religious narratives. But let's dive a bit deeper into the details. And what fruit comes to mind? An apple, right? It's almost automatic. The image of Eve holding a shiny red apple is ingrained in our collective consciousness. But why is that? But guess what? The Bible never actually specifies that it was an apple. It just says fruit. This ambiguity has led to a lot of speculation and debate over the centuries. Scholars and theologians have pondered over what this mysterious fruit could have been. It could have been a pomegranate, a fig, a mango. Maybe Eve was allergic to apples, who knows? The possibilities are endless. Each of these fruits has its own unique symbolism and significance in different cultures. So why do we always picture an apple? This association didn't just happen overnight. It was shaped by centuries of art, literature, and religious teachings. The apple became a powerful symbol representing knowledge, temptation, and the fall of man. Some scholars believe it's because of the Latin word for evil, which is malum, which sounds a lot like malum, the Latin word for apple. Coincidence? I think not. This linguistic twist added another layer to the story, making the apple an even more fitting symbol for the forbidden fruit. Or maybe it's just way funnier to imagine Eve taking a bite out of a giant juicy apple. The visual is more striking, more memorable. It captures the drama and the gravity of the moment in a way that other fruits just don't. I mean, can you imagine trying to tempt someone with a fig? Not as exciting. The apple has a certain allure, a certain drama that makes the story come alive. So next time you think of the forbidden fruit, remember, it might not have been an apple, but the story wouldn't be the same without it. A stable situation? Not so fast. Okay, let's go back to the nativity scene. We've got baby Jesus lying in a manger, which is like a fancy word for an animal feeding trough. But where's the manger usually located? In a stable, right? Well, here's the thing. The Bible never actually mentions a stable. It just says there was no room at the inn. So where was Jesus born? Honestly, we don't know for sure. Some scholars believe it might have been a cave used for animals. Others think it could have been a guest room in a crowded house. Maybe it was even a yurt. The point is, the Bible leaves it up to our imagination. But hey, who doesn't love a good stable in a nativity scene? It adds a certain rustic charm, don't you think? The devil wears horns and a pitchfork? Let's talk about the devil. That mischievous little... Well, you know, the devil has been a figure of intrigue and fear for centuries, appearing in countless stories, artworks, and even modern media. But how did we come to visualize this entity in such a specific way? When you picture the devil, what do you see? Is it a terrifying figure that haunts your nightmares, or a more comical character that pops up in cartoons and Halloween decorations? Probably a red guy with horns, a pointy tail, and a pitchfork, right? This image is so ingrained in our collective consciousness that it's hard to imagine the devil looking any other way. But guess what? That image is about as biblical as a unicorn riding a skateboard. The devil's modern depiction is more a product of cultural evolution than religious texts. The Bible describes the devil in various ways, but never with horns and a pitchfork. In fact, the devil is often depicted as a fallen angel, a serpent, or even a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. So where did this image come from? How did we end up with this iconic, yet somewhat cartoonish representation of the devil? Well, it's a bit of a mix of things. Over the centuries, various cultures have contributed to the devil's image, blending elements from different mythologies and folklore. The horns and pitchfork likely come from ancient Greek mythology, specifically the god Pan, who was half goat and known for his, persuasive ways. Pan was often depicted with goat-like features, including horns, which made their way into the devil's image. The red color, probably just because red is associated with anger and danger. In many cultures, red is a color that signifies warning, passion, and even violence, making it a fitting choice for the devil. And the tail? Well, everyone loves a good tail, right? The tail likely comes from various mythological creatures that were often depicted with tails, adding to the devil's menacing appearance. The point is, the devil's image has evolved over time, borrowing from different cultures and traditions. From medieval Europe to modern Hollywood, each era has added its own flair to the devil's look. But hey, at least it makes for a good Halloween costume. Whether you're dressing up to scare your friends or just having a bit of fun, the devil's iconic look is instantly recognizable and always a hit. In modern pop culture, the devil appears in various forms, from the suave and charming to the grotesque and terrifying. Movies, TV shows, and even comic books have all put their own spin on this age-old character. Historical paintings and medieval art also played a significant role in shaping our current image of the devil. Artists of the past used their imagination to depict the devil in ways that would instill fear and caution in their audiences. Literature too has had its hand in crafting the devil's image. From Dante's Inferno to Goethe's Faust, writers have explored the devil's character in depth, each adding layers to the mythos. And let's not forget modern reinterpretations. Contemporary artists and writers continue to reinvent the devil, making him relevant for new generations while keeping the core elements that make him instantly recognizable. Even in video games, the devil has found a place. Digital artists create elaborate and terrifying versions of the devil, adding to the ever-evolving image of this iconic figure. Different cultures around the world have their own interpretations of the devil, each adding unique elements to the character. From the trickster figures in African folklore to the demons in Asian mythology, the devil's image is as diverse as it is enduring. So the next time you see a devil with horns, a pitchfork, and a pointy tail, remember that this image is a tapestry woven from various threads of history, culture, and imagination. It's a symbol that has evolved and adapted, much like the stories we tell about it. The Rapture? More like the, wait, what's a rapture? Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the Rapture. Wait, what's a rapture? You might have heard the term thrown around in movies, books, or even casual conversations. But what does it really mean? The Rapture is often depicted as a sudden event where all the righteous people are taken up to heaven, leaving the rest behind. Sounds intense, right? Imagine this. You're walking down the street and suddenly people start disappearing into beams of light, leaving their clothes behind in neat little piles. It's a dramatic and somewhat eerie image, isn't it? This idea has been popularized in various forms of media, but where did it come from? Here's the kicker. The word rapture isn't even in the Bible. That's right, you can search through every page and you won't find it. The concept, however, is derived from interpretations of certain biblical passages, particularly from the New Testament, I know, right? Mind blown. So, how did this idea become so ingrained in modern Christian thought? Well, it actually developed in the 19th century. Scholars and theologians began to interpret passages from books like Thessalonians and Revelation in a way that suggested a future event where believers would be taken up to meet Christ. The 19th century was a time of great religious revival and speculation. People were fascinated by the end times and what the Bible had to say about the future. This period saw the rise of various interpretations and theories, including the concept of the rapture as we know it today. The Bible does talk about Jesus returning and believers being gathered to be with him. Passages like 1 Thessalonians 4:16, 17 describe a moment when the Lord will descend from heaven and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then those who are alive and remain will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. But here's the thing, the Bible doesn't get into the specifics of how or when this will happen. There's a lot of room for interpretation, which is why there are so many different views on the subject. Some believe it will happen before a period of tribulation, others think it will occur afterward, and some aren't sure it will happen at all. So, will there be a rapture? Honestly, who knows? It's one of those mysteries that has fascinated and puzzled people for centuries. But one thing's for sure, if it does happen, I call dibs on your clothes. Just kidding. Maybe. Whether you believe in the rapture or not, it's a topic that certainly sparks the imagination and invites a lot of interesting discussions. That's all, folks, but not really. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new and had a few laughs along the way. Remember, the Bible is a complex and fascinating book, and there's always something new to discover. Don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and explore different interpretations. And most importantly, don't take everything you hear literally, especially when it comes to fruit, farm animals, and fashion choices. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fun and informative videos.